Hey everybody, Joseph Rothschild here, aka Mono Bluetron, back again with another episode of 10-Minute Testing. So if any of you are familiar with me or my associated color, you may know that I love ritual monsters, the OG blue dudes, and today we've got a lot of new toys to play with. Way back before Heralds or Vendreads or Necros, Demise was the king of rituals, and now, along with some new support, it's time to try out the Armageddon retrains. So here's the list, and I know you're probably not familiar with the new stuff in here, but don't worry, as always I'll give you a little bit of background about the archetype, a little bit of a discussion about what I hope the deck can do, and as always, the card by card. So firstly, for those of you that don't know, Demise and Ruin are a series of ritual monsters that I'm sure someone in GX played for about 30 seconds on screen. They are immensely powerful monsters meant to test the limits of what people were willing to put up with in ritual monsters. Demise can pay 2,000 life points to destroy all other cards on the field, and Ruin can attack again if it destroys a monster. All in all, they weren't particularly powerful, despite having some of the coolest names and the coolest named ritual spell in the history of overblown apocalyptic archetypes, End of the World. Their player popularity propelled them to a retrain which includes an all-new version of Demise and Ruin, not pictured here, as well as squires that give them special protections akin to the Monarch's little monarchlings. Now this deck aims to turbo out the retrain as fast as possible, and it's got a lot of cool ways to do it. Unfortunately, the new monster, Demise Supreme King of Armageddon, only counts as the old one while in the hand or on the field, so we're going to have to nut up and play the old one as well for pre-preparation. We're going to hopefully be able to send either squires, so our big Demise gets a whole bunch of exciting bonuses after being ritual summoned, or with two new monsters, the Devi rituals, specifically designed to enable ritual monsters, and coincidentally ones with these amount of stars. So, unlike usual, the meat is in the cards this game. First, we have 3 Devi Ritual Talismandra, who has 2 effects. While on board, he locks your extra and can be special summoned from your hand by revealing a ritual monster. After he is, you can summon his partner in crime, Devi Ritual Candal, who has the same effect but for ritual spells from the deck. When summoned from the deck, Talismandra gets a ritual monster, and Candal gets a ritual spell from deck to hand. Next, our 3 Manju of the 10,000 hands. We gotta use our normal summon for something here, folks. And finally, because we have to go second and get the most out of Demise's effect, 3 copies of Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit. Next is Supreme Demise himself, who can be summoned only with Endless of the World and prevents your rituals from being destroyed by battle. Once per turn, you can pay 2,000 life points to destroy all other cards on the field, then burn your opponent for 200 per card. If he was ritualed using only rituals, his effect is free. Normal Demise is next summonable with End of the World and can pay 2,000 to destroy all other cards. Next is 2 Demise Fiend, who destroys a face-up monster on ritual summon and, when sent to the graveyard, prevents an opponent from responding to your ritual monster's effects. 2 Ruin Angel is next, who can attack monsters twice and gives a ritual Armades. After that are the spells: 3 Allure, 3 Pre-Prep, 3 Prep, 2 Demise, 2 End of the World, 3 Endless of the World, who can, unlike End of the World, exceed levels but requires you to control monsters you're tributing and lets you shuffle it from your grave back into the deck to add an End of the World and a Demise or Ruin from your grave to your hand. Finally, Break of the World is a field spell that lets you change a ritual in your hand's level to a ritual on field, then can draw a card or destroy a card when a Demise or Ruin is summoned. In the extra deck, we have a whole lot of nothing since we're locked out most of the time by the Devi rituals, but it's good practice to include it, so here we have 2 7-star Synchros, Black Rose Dragon and Ancient Fairy Dragon, and then a bunch of rank 10s, 7 Sins, Ravenous Tarantula, and Pain Gainer, Gustav Max, and Dora, followed by a bunch of rank 4s, the Utopia Boys, Tornado Dragon, Baguska, Castel, Gagaga Samurai, Abyss Dweller, and really scraping the bottom of the barrel here, Heartland Draco. So with that, let's get into the games. Alright, so our first match is up against the Electromagnetic Warriors, the Yugi counterpart to Kaiba's ABC Buster Dragon retrain. It's not particularly powerful, but it's probably good enough to beat what we're playing. We get to go second, which is ideal. Our opponent's going to start by activating a Pot of Desires and drawing into a Ties of the Brethren. So they're going to activate the effect of Alpha to get a second Berserky onto their hand, then special summon a Beta and a Gamma from deck, using the effect of Beta and setting 1 card. Now I expect that card is a Solemn of some sort, so I play a little reserved here. In retrospect, I probably should have just gone for the OTK. We're looping through Manju and using the effect of Deva Rituals now. Remember that End of the World can special summon Supreme King from hand because his name is Demise Normal King while he is there. We're going to target our own Demise with our copy of Squire that we send to the graveyard, then we'll get in for 3,000 after activating his effect. Our opponent's going to draw, and what do they find but a Gigantes? They'll go ahead and make a Berserkion because they have the material engraved, then banish our monster, get in for 3,000 and 1,300. Now, I can beat this board, but unfortunately I need life points to do so, and we're at 1,700. We're going to go ahead and use Manju's effect to get a copy of the Squire to hand, then use End of the World to get Demise so they can't respond to its effect. Of course, we can't use its effect, and we unfortunately dead draw off the Allure, so we have to get in for 1,100 and pass it back. Our opponent can kill us one of several ways here. They decide to get back Sentry Soldier of Stone, normal summon Gem Knight Obsidian, and go into Troymare Phoenix, actually pretty good in this deck, before banishing our monster and attacking for lethal. So a very painful game one. I think you kind of have to throw caution to the winds with this deck. You have very little ability to come back. Our second game against Infernoid Lair highlights another potential problem with this deck, its consistency. We've been forced to go first here, something that we don't want to ever have to do, but sometimes you find the only other deck in the format that wants to go second. We're going to start off by firing off this pre-preparation of rights, and unfortunately this is a really wonkety Allure of Darkness. It prevents us from using End of the World, but it's not like we really wanted to summon anyone anyway. Our opponent's going to activate Terraforming to get a Lair of Darkness, then another Terraforming for the same. They'll activate the Lair of Darkness, then use Lilith's effect to show me 3 cards, 2 of which are Needlebug Nest. That's a little spicy. They'll use Diabolos' effect to place a card from my hand on the bottom of my deck, then I will go ahead and Ghost Ogre that Lair in end step. We draw into another blue guy, and now we're in a bit of a pickle, because End of the World has to be exact. We have no way of summoning any of the guys in our hand. They're going to Needlebug twice, which is all the Noid fuel they could ever want. They'll go into a Harmadic, a Petrela, hit me for 100, 1600, and 1800, and then in main phase 2 make an Omega. So as long as the Omega doesn't hit this End of the World, I'm feeling okay, but then they make Ononku, which can negate it no matter what. That's not ideal, but at the very least we can get lethal off the board by activating it. We do finally draw into a monster that allows us to play End of the World in the first place, but Ononku's going to go ahead and banish it. Then they're going to use the effect of Omega to banish a Demise out of our hand, and then in standby, they get it back alongside a Seismitas off the top. So I guess we couldn't even fade him for one draw step, we die. Okay, so games haven't been going particularly well, but maybe this is just one of those decks that only has good matchups versus meta. I guess we'll find out in a best of 3 versus meta. Our opponent is playing Pendulum Magicians, and they are going first. We've opened no hand trap, so let's see how far they can go unimpeded. They'll start by activating Chronograph Sorcerer's effect to get a Time Gazer from deck. After that's done, they'll use the effect of Astrograph Sorcerer to get another Chronograph, and then go into an Electromite. That Electromite's going to set a Stargazer, and then they will set a Harmonizing Magician, destroying it with Electromite, and using the effect of Astrograph Sorcerer so they can get another one from deck. You've probably seen this play a couple of times in your life. They're going to go into 2 copies of Wisdom Eye Magician, then use Chronograph Sorcerer's effect to special itself, go into an Oath Dragon, a second Electromite, then use Oath Dragon to add a card back to their hand, and activate the effect of Astrograph Sorcerer once again for a second copy of Oath Dragon. They'll then go into Metaltron and Pendulum summon 4, including a Harmonizing Magician. Come on. Followed by an Absolute Dragon into a Skull Death, so they can trigger the effect of Absolute Dragon to get themselves a Vortex. That's 1 negate we're going to have to worry about. I think we're probably also going to have to worry about Naruto, but at this point, seeing the Electromite for the 3rd time is making me think I might be in danger of getting FTK'd. There's 2 6s on their side of the board, so the Naruto anytime now. Oh, nope, they're just going to go into Supreme King Dragon Starving Venom, targeting the Electromite, and then getting back an Astrograph Sorcerer. So this is a pretty formidable board, but not nearly as formidable as it could have been. I might be able to break it. We'll start by activating Pot of Desires, and ooh. Well, we really needed to draw those cards. We'll go ahead and Allure of Darkness, and unfortunately it's a little bit of a wonky one. We'll go ahead and destroy their Vortex with this copy of Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit, but they're still going to get to destroy our field spell, and we can't really do anything from there. We're going to go ahead and get a Supreme Demise, go into a Ruin, and just walk into the Starving Venom. Alright, so it's time for game 2, and I have learned my lesson. I'm going first, even if it kills me. We have a pretty good grip, so we're going to start by activating this pre-preparation of rights, and oh no. Well, maybe we could... Oh, Desires off of Desires. Okay, well, we'll just set one and pass. That seems pretty good against the deck that can assemble like 5 or 6 1800 attack monsters in one turn. They're going to start by activating the effect of Dark Worm and the effect of Chronograph Sorcerer and the effect of Astrograph Sorcerer to get themselves everything they could ever want, then use Electromite to set a Stargazer Magician, destroy their Supreme King Gate 0, get back Astrograph Sorcerer, and I figured that's enough. Okay, so we're back with the deck, and woof. This one's not good, guys. I'm pretty famous at this point for overhyping ritual decks, but this one is not going to make the cut. The monsters do nothing on your opponent's turn. They are okay for OTKing, but you'd have to play New Ruin as well, and also live in a magical Christmas land where you have the resources to both clear the board with Supreme Demise first and attack with her. The deck searches so much that a single Ash or Drollin Lock neuters the entire game plan, not to mention you're going second, so you can bet your bottom dollar you're going to get interacted on. Just like Demise and Ruin back in the old days, despite their incredibly powerful effects, these guys are just not worth the investment. I do have some ideas for those Devir rituals, though. So that's that. Sorry for the letdown, but nobody wanted these two to be good more than me. If you want to see me play the decks I make on this show on stream, I'm on twitch.tv/monobluetron every Tuesday and Thursday from noon to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And if you have an idea for a deck or archetype you want to see me play on a future episode of this show, let me know in the comment section below and I'll do my best. Otherwise, I'll see you on Monday.